My people. Episode number 54. We're talking about speed. Talking about speed. Apparently, I think it's Jeremy Clarkson. There's like my buddy was doing an impression of Jeremy Clarkson and he just was like, speed. I don't know if I've ever heard him say that. Scotty, do you even know who Jeremy Clarkson is?
I've heard the name. I don't know who it is.
Top Gear guy. Now they got
Ah,
their own show now. I feel like he's probably the most famous one. He's the dude. If I'm wrong about this, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure he's the dude who punched the producer in the face, and then that's kind of how Top Gear got canceled. And then they got a new cast on Top Gear, and then those guys, what's their new show called? I've watched it before. I can't even think of it. It's funny though. It's good.
solid life choices.
I mean, dude, I think it was because they're probably making way more money with their own show than Top Gear. But you
Punch
know
your boss.
what?
Punch your boss. You heard it here first.
Great advice. Just freaking go up and sock your boss in the face. No, probably don't do that. Anyway, that was a little bit off topic. In this episode, we're talking about speed, and specifically why speed is such an important thing to operate with when you're one of the little guys. And when I say one of the little guys, that's basically all of us. The big guys are the big companies, big multi-million, 100 million, billion-dollar companies. When you're the little guys, it's really hard to compete with them. But there is a way. There is a way to not only that you can compete with them, but that you can actually beat them. And that is by using speed. Now I'm going to let Scotty take over here and give you guys his take because I think he's got some fire to share with you guys about this. But first, I want to tell you what inspired this. Basically, we are working right now with a company, a big company. And I don't feel like I really need to go into a whole lot of detail about this. I don't really see any reason not to, but I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. We're working with a company to help us do some stuff with our brand, and they're a big company. And we're trying to get them to, basically they're going to be doing some consulting for us on a specific area of our business. I've been in contact with them for about 2 weeks, and we're finally just going to be getting a quote early next week. I've now hopped on at least 3 phone calls with 3 different people. And all those phone calls have essentially been, okay, so this phone call, oh, so you need this. Okay, well, we need to talk to this person. And then the next phone call, oh, you need this. Okay, well, we need to get to this person then. And it was just a bunch of wasted time. It was just a bunch of phone calls that didn't really need to happen. And this whole process has taken weeks when it really could have taken like a day. And I think that's kind of the reality of working with big companies. This is something that I've experienced, working with my bank. Anytime that we've had to work with or do really anything with big companies, one of the main things I notice is just how slow they tend to work. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But that is really the beautiful thing about being an online business owner and running a small, lean business. You can move extremely, extremely quickly. Now, Scotty, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine down here, where essentially, I mean, it sounds so arrogant, but if you're not like 20, if you're not in your 20s and running an online business, you're probably incompetent, which is ridiculous to say because obviously there's loads of competent people outside of online business. But balance of probabilities, if I had to take a guess, is this person competent or not? I would ask 2 questions. Number 1, age. Number 2, what do you do for work? If they aren't like self-employed and young, they are probably incompetent. Like they would not match the standard of someone I would want to work with or hire, which is crazy to say. Super arrogant, but it is what it is. um, People in these big businesses, they just, I don't know, they're just trying to kill time. I don't know what they're doing. Um, Super frustrating to work with when you're used to getting shit done like quick. Like we'll have idea today, we'll have 2 stores up tomorrow. Like literally.
Mm-hmm.
I had the idea of we're gonna sell on Etsy. I mean, I got the store up the next day. I think Schmidt's about about ready as well.
I already got the listing out, baby. I mean, I haven't
Yeah,
published it because I'm still waiting for the fulfillment center to confirm that we're all good. But
it's just so quick. Like from idea to done takes a day, whereas for a lot of big companies. It's someone has an idea, they bring it up 3 weeks later at a quarterly meeting. Then they debate it at the meeting, and then they delay making a decision, then they make a decision, then they make a team, and then 6 months later, maybe they've launched it. And that is not how we run, and that is not how anyone that has a small successful business runs. It's about going from idea to execution very, very quickly, while also not rushing execution. So a lot of people think speed means I'm going to test 10 stores this month, but that's not what it means, because if you test 10 stores this month, they're all going to suck. None of them are going to work. What speed means is you have an idea today and you have it up later today, ads launch tomorrow. It does not mean that you're going to do the same thing again tomorrow. So it's like going from idea to execution quickly, but taking enough time in the execution to do it properly, so that it's actually going to work. So it's actually going to hold up, and you're not just spinning your wheels doing a bunch of shit, none of which is any good. So there's a balance there, but it's actually really simple to find the balance. It's don't procrastinate on things that you think you should do, just do them. Don't sit around waiting. Just get it done. And you're going to find that a lot of the stuff you test doesn't work. And then you have to look at everything you're doing, try to be objective and decide this is the right thing or not based on these results. And then you're either going to continue with it or you're going to shut it down. And then you execute quickly again on the next idea. That's kind of the cycle of everything we do. And us little guys, if you can get into the habit of working with speed, you are going to do a lot better than big companies, and you're going to do a lot better than most people who are in e-com, who just, they either work slowly or they put out suboptimal product.
I'd say most people work slowly and put out suboptimal.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that test a lot, but it's all shitty. Or there's people who test way too slow and they try to make it good, but often it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's few people who work fast and do good work.
I don't even think it's like, I feel like that's a concern of people. Like, if I move with speed, then the quality of the work's not going to be that high. To me, that's not even really a trade-off. Like, it can be, but I think intuitively, you know, when you're doing half-assed work and you know when you're not. And over time, I guess, like, now I very much understand this because I've been doing it for as long as I have. But it's not that difficult to move quickly while still doing good work and understanding where you really need to put in your time and effort and understanding what things really don't matter. For example, when it comes to building out a store, I don't need to go and make a super professional logo before I start testing a product. In fact, every single time I've started testing a product, I have either gone into Canva or Photoshop and literally typed out the logo in like a decent looking font and then just use that as the logo. And for my first store that we were just talking about in the previous episode, I literally didn't even make a logo. Like, I got the font, I put the name of the store, and then it was just like in whatever the font I had chosen on the store, and I took a screenshot of that on the store, and then I just put that as like my Facebook profile picture on the Facebook page so that it looks like somewhat decent. And I didn't get a logo made ever. That entire store did over $1 million in sales, and it never had a logo. So there's things that like actually matter, and there's things that don't. And every time that I have worked with speed, it hasn't worked every time, but every time something has worked, it's almost always been when I've done it very quickly. Like that first store, same example. I literally got the idea at about 10 p.m. at night. I was finished making the store by 3 or 4 a.m. the next morning. I stayed up all night to finish it and get it all done. That happened like that. And then the next day I was making sales.
Starting a store, building a store out from idea to done, it only takes like 5 hours of work. But So we're not saying cut down that 5 hours and do it in 1 hour. What we're saying is do that 5 hours of work in one day instead of 3 weeks.
And
That's really
freaking
what
just
we're saying.
focus, man. Just freaking focus.
Yeah. Put on a song, one song on repeat and get it done. Abuse caffeine and nicotine, just get it done.
Magic by Little Skies.
Magic by Little Skies. That is the secret sauce. We're done here. Let's wrap it up.
No, I mean, I want to make the point that working with speed isn't just an advantage when you're the little guy. I think it's a necessity. I really think that you have to work with speed in order to be successful, because you got to understand, like, all these established companies, they have more resources than you, they have more capital than you, they have more knowledge, they have more skills, they're better. They have all these advantages over you, but the one thing that they cannot do is get things done very quickly. They cannot move from idea to execution in a few hours or a few days. It takes weeks, it takes months. These things take a lot of time for big companies, and that is your advantage as the little guy. And I think that, the last episode we were talking about kind of getting on that first mover advantage of products with built-in demand is a great example of that. Like, working with speed there and being one of the first people to get in on something like that, that's going to give you much better results than, just about anything else you could do. And it's funny, man, because everyone's so slow. Like, I have kind of a unique insight into it, because a lot of my friends from high school and college work regular 9 to 5 jobs at, regular big companies. And I understand exactly why things work the way that they do with big companies. It's because they don't really care that much. They're not like super into their job. They're not like trying to do the best that they can do because they are really proud of it or anything. They're just trying to do the minimum so that they can get their paycheck, not get fired, and then go get drunk on the weekends, go to the beach, hang out with their girlfriend, whatever. As
There's
a business
also,
owner, you can't really have that mindset.
yeah, there's also an inherent risk averseness built into big companies, because an employee doesn't benefit much from taking a big risk or taking any sort of risk. They're better off, if they have an idea, they're better off waiting for approval, even if it takes a week. Whereas we are better off just doing it, and then like telling our team, or like just do it without thinking too much about it and see if it works. And that's honestly another advantage that you have over big companies, where your ads don't need to fit the brand image. Your ads can be edgy, your copy can be aggressive, your image ad can be slightly sexual if you want. You don't need approval from anyone. You don't need to fit a brand image. You don't need to get approval from compliance. And you can get away with shit that bigger companies can't in your advertising. And that's another advantage that you have as a little guy that you should take advantage of for sure. And again, it's like your buddy doesn't want to make an ad that's gonna maybe get him fired and maybe do really well. Whereas we do want to take that risk. If there's an ad that might do really well and it's edgy, we want to launch that ad. And if it's too edgy, we decide later we'll shut it off later. But none of us are going to lose our job over it. So we can take more risks there. And also, if you're getting started, if you've got a brand new store, for one, you're not going to get shut down by the FTC or sued or anything, because you literally have 0 sales and 0 visitors a day.
This is not legal advice.
This is not legal advice. And for second, there's no brand image. There's nothing to hurt. Like, people get stuck up with this. Oh, is this the type of company I want to run? If you have 0 sales and 0 visitors, the type of company you want to run is one with not 0 sales and not 0 visitors. Step one is getting those visitors and sales. And if the ad is more edgy, then you would ideally want to show your grandma down the line. Doesn't matter. Just get it working before you start worrying about stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a completely different point. Maybe we should make an episode about that, about how people just worry about all the wrong stuff when they're first starting out. That would probably be a pretty good one.
I think it just goes into the how to beat big companies, and it's the same sort of thing. They move slow because they have no incentive to move fast, number one, and because they need to get approval from a bunch of different places.
It is pretty crazy just how, like, imagine if a big company that had all its other advantages worked really quickly. Like they'd
Yeah.
kill. I feel like there are examples of companies like that. Like I feel like Stripe might be a good example of that. I've heard some stuff about, about what they do, and I think that they tend to work a little bit faster than a lot of other traditional big companies. And I think that's probably why that they've literally freaking like engulfed the entire online payment space. But the final point that I kind of want to leave you guys with too is working with speed isn't just important from a technical sense in terms of like getting the stuff that you need done very quickly in order to make money. Like that's definitely a big part of it. But there's also a mental side of it. Because when you have an idea and you execute on that idea ASAP, you have a store idea, you build out the store, you get ads up within 24 to 48 hours. There's something very motivating about doing that, about going from idea to execution extremely quickly. And especially if it starts working, I mean, that's freaking, incredibly motivating. But I think it's one of those things where whatever the term is, like an object in motion tends to stay in motion, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. Like whatever you're doing, if you're always working with speed, like speed begets speed, but slowness begets slowness. So I think you always kind of want to be keeping this in mind, always be working with speed. And I think you'd be amazed, like in terms of like a practical way that you can implement this in your, your day-to-day life. What I would do is I would make, and I've done this before, and it's honestly like I should probably do this more often. I make my to-do list for the day. I call it my assault list. I haven't called it that in a while. I don't even really call it anything now. I just make the list. But I have a list of things that I want to get done each day. And what I used to do is I would write down an amount of time next to it that I expected that I could get that done in, like a reasonable amount of time. Say I need to make, a new video ad. I had a lot, an hour for that. And then an hour is a reasonable amount of time to do that. But then I would take whatever I thought was a reasonable amount of time that, is like plenty of time to get it done. And then I'd cut it in half. And then I would set a timer and I would try to get whatever that task was done in half the amount of time that I thought was reasonable. And guess what? Most of the time, I did it. Most of the time, I could get things done in about half the amount of time that I expected it to. And were there situations where that work was not as good as it could have been if I spent twice the amount of time on it? Yeah. But it's never a situation where like spending 30 minutes on something versus an hour is going to produce 50% of the results. Like that's pretty rare in my experience. Most of the time, you're going to spend half the amount of time, but you're still going to get like 80% of the results. And if you add up that math is pretty favorable.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Another thing I'd add here is where if you're building a team or even if you're working with freelancers, again, try to hire people that work with speed, because say you're trying to get a video ad made by someone else and they take 5 days, that puts you back 5 days on your testing process. Whereas if you get someone else who gets it back to you within 24 hours, that should be seen as a huge bonus for hiring that person or working with them.
Oh my God. It's so huge, especially when it comes to like content and creative stuff. The speed is so important.
Anything that's going to hold up testing, anything that's going to slow down you getting ads up needs to get done quick.
Agreed. So guys, there's some very actionable advice for you. Work with speed. Figure out what you think is a reasonable amount of time to get something done. And then cut that amount of time in half, set a timer on your phone, and work with freaking speed, man. I think this is so important, especially just for like the entrepreneurial mindset, I guess. It's very easy. And this is something that I've kind of been struggling with personally. When you don't have someone breathing over your neck, like, yo, I need this turned in today. Like this needs to be done by this date. And especially if you're kind of comfortable with where you're at and you're like not struggling for cash, it's pretty easy to just be like, oh, I don't need to do that today. I can do that tomorrow. No big deal. The problem with that is a lot of times when you push it off till tomorrow, it doesn't happen tomorrow. And then you push it out the next day and it doesn't happen that day. And then you just keep pushing it. And most of the time it doesn't even ever get done. And when you don't have anyone, pressuring you to get things done, it can be very easy to just kind of get complacent. And I think if you really keep in mind the importance of working with speed, then you can kind of get around that and you can kind of force yourself to do like twice the amount of work in half the time. And the great thing is, if you're self-employed, then you got a whole bunch more time left in your day and you can go spend it doing the things that you enjoy instead of just sitting at your desk wasting away. you can go do things that you like to do. Go outside. Ideally, just go outside. That's really all you got to do. Just go outside.
Yeah. Now that you guys are allowed to back in the States, huh?
We're open, baby. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't want to flex on the European homies too hard, but we're back. Scotty, you got anything else, man? You good with that?
I think we're good with that. I was just going into a sad state for the state of Europe.
Yeah, it sucks living in communist land. Here we got 80% taxes on crypto gains, but at least we got the bars open.
Yeah. What would you prefer, no capital gains tax or bars open?
Is the bars the only thing that aren't open?
Yeah.
Oh, give me the no capital gains, dude. I can go without the bars as long as restaurants are open, as long as like everything else is open. I don't care about going to the bar that much.
Let me know when you want to get that Swiss residency.
Yeah, I think it might be time to expedite that, considering all these insane tax plans that Sleepy Joe's starting to come out with here.
Yeah. Your boy Sebastian tweeted about that once, how he wanted to move to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if we end up having a fucking compound out in the boonies and fucking one of the super low tax cities or states.
Oh, dude, that sounds pretty good to me, man. I could think of a lot worse things, although the beach isn't very close to you, is it?
No, there's beautiful lakes and mountains.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes up for it.
Yeah.
Probably like the most beautiful mountains in the world right there.
Yeah. So the tax haven is situated right between what I believe to be the two nicest cities, or two of the three nicest cities. It's like a 30-minute drive from each. There's like a lake in each city. There's a lake in the tax city, Zug. Then there's a lake in Zurich, and there's a lake in Lucerne, and like each lake and city is like 30 minutes away. Could be pretty dope. Could be pretty dope.
You let me know, man. Let me know when you're trying to make that happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, me and Scotty's Swiss compound plans aside, we hope you guys enjoyed this week of Ecom Dispensary Knowledge Drop number 12. Let us know. I think that we're going to start doing more interviews with people outside of just me and Scotty, because I really feel like that interview with Nick was really super valuable. I really enjoyed doing that. And it's just really fun. Like, I really enjoy talking to people. I have a fair amount of contacts in the ecom space that are doing cool things. And I would love to hear from you guys who you would like us to have on next. Let us know. Maybe we can make it happen. I'm looking at I got some prospects, some potential people to have on. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise here, but let us know in the Telegram what you guys think, who we should get on. And if you have any other thoughts or recommendations about what you guys might want to see in these knowledge drops, let us know, because we are more than happy to make whatever kind of content you guys really want to see. Whether that's similar content to what we're doing now, something completely different. We're down to do what you guys want to see, man. We're here for the people. So we hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the Telegram. And above all, have a great weekend. And, don't steal. Stealing's bad. Don't steal.
Wear your mask.
Don't steal. Don't wear your mask. And that's my advice for the weekend.
Execute with speed.
Execute with speed. Take that mask off with some speed. No, we're gonna get canceled. Oh wait, this is our. I guess YouTube could take us off here. We actually better be careful, considering we upload these episodes to YouTube. All right, I'm just gonna end this off. Coronavirus is 100% real. Wear your mask. People are dying out here. All right, don't ban me, YouTube. Okay. I think we're all good now. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.